What's up, guys? Josh Sykes with Bent Rods Guide Service. Today I'm going to go through everything you need to know about spoon fishing out here on Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. And if you're not from this region or this part of the country and you're fishing in Table Rock or you're fishing in Clear Lake or any other lake, these same principles will apply to those same fish. I've caught fish all around the country in many states and many lakes using these exact same techniques, using jigging spoons and flutter spoons, catching fish out in deep water. And so right now it is mid-November here on Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend, and we are catching piles of fish, and we're using jigging spoons as our #1 fish catching bait right now. Jigging spoons are best typically in the fall and early winter. They get really good when the fish get bunched up really deep in deep creek swings and in the bottom of drains. When fish get grouped up on the bottom and they're chasing shad, it's hard to beat a jigging spoon. And so I take a lot of people out on the boat and they have a lot of questions about exactly how to fish a jigging spoon, what setups to use on a jigging spoon, what gear ratio reel, what rod, what line, and which jigging spoons to throw. And so for a jigging spoon, I'm typically going to pick up some rod that has a little bit of a limber tip to it. This is a Dobbins. It is a 733. I like a little bit longer rod. I don't like a big 8-foot rod for it, but I like a little bit longer rod than a 6.5 or a 7-foot. That way, when I pick that spoon up off the bottom, I can really rip, and I've got a lot more leverage pulling that spoon up off of the bottom. But this is just a simple medium heavy, fast action rod. It's got a good limber tip to it. That way, when I do hook up with these small treble hooks, it's got a little give to help keep those fish buttoned up and pinned. This, along with this Dobbins, I'm throwing this on a 7:3-to-1 gear ratio reel. I like a fast reel. That way when I pick that spoon up and it goes to fall and a fish swims up with the spoon, if my line stays slack whenever I let my spoon fall down, I can catch up to them real quick with that 7:3-to-1 gear ratio reel, and I can set the hook into those fish and really winch them in. And so a 7:3 gear ratio reel. But the most important thing when fishing a jigging spoon and a flutter spoon the same is the line to use. It is a must to use fluorocarbon line on a spoon. Typically, most of your bites on a spoon is going to happen on the fall. And so the way I'm going to fish this spoon, I'm going to cast it out to the fish or vertical drop it down if I'm seeing them grouped up underneath the boat. And I'm going to let the spoon hit the bottom. I'm going to rip the spoon up off the bottom, and I disengage my reel. That way I'm allowing that spoon to fall straight back down and not pendulum swing back to the boat. I disengage my reel, and I'm watching my line as that spoon falls. If I see my line jump, I engage my reel and set the hook. But many times what will happen is I feel just a small tick or a thump through the transmission of the vibrations in this fluorocarbon line. Monofilament line, you cannot feel those fish hit on a slack line. Braided line, you will not feel those fish hit with a slack line. And so fluorocarbon line is crucial when fishing a spoon. This is 16-pound Sunline Sniper. It's personally what I like to use. I've used all the other lines as well. They all work just as well, but a good fluorocarbon line, 14 to 16-pound line seems to be best for these spoons. Now, getting into which spoons to throw. I only throw 3 different jigging spoons this time of year. This is a 6 Sense Divine jigging spoon. A couple things I really like about this spoon. It's got the swivel built in, and so you can see here at the top that this bait can twist and turn, and it does not twist your line. That is one great advantage of this spoon. Another thing, this spoon falls like a rock, and so if I'm fishing in really deep water, this 6 Sense spoon falls to the bottom quickly, and it's got a good triple grip hook on the back end of that, and those fish seem to stay buttoned up whenever I set the hook. A couple other baits that I'll throw this time of year, or other jigging spoons I'll throw. War Eagle makes a great jigging spoon. This is a 7/8 ounce War Eagle. This is a 1 ounce 6 Sense bait. You can see this one's kind of got a hammered chrome color to it. Same thing. It's got a barrel swivel at the top, and it's got a good triple grip hook here. A very good jigging spoon. And then also a cotton cordell. What I like about the cotton cordels, the hooks that come with them is a little bit bigger and stouter. You get better hookup ratio. They spit it a little bit more because it's not that triple grip, not that EWG style hook, but you do get a better hookup ratio with this cotton cordell. One negative is it will twist your line. If you look here at the line tie, there is no barrel swivel or any anything to help with line twist. And so it will twist your line, but that cotton cordell spoon will catch them as well. As far as colors go, y'all just saw I picked up both his cotton cordell and this War Eagle. Chrome. Anytime the sun's out, I'm throwing a regular chrome jigging spoon. When it gets cloudy, I'm going to pick up either a gold jigging spoon or a white jigging spoon. This week, they have ate a white. I bet I've caught, I don't know, 300 fish this week on this particular spoon the past, I don't know, 5 trips. They've been eating this white spoon up like crazy. It's been cloudy, mist and rain all week. This is a great, great spoon to throw. And so I'm going to throw this jigging spoon when those fish are grouped up real tight together. They're chasing small bait fish, late fall, early winter, and they're in real deep water, and I can cast to them, let it hit the bottom, rip it up, let it fall, and when I feel that thump through the transmissions of this fluorocarbon line, set the hook into them, reel them in, catch a pile of fish. Now let's move to a flutter spoon. Flutter spoon fishing is very much the same, but I'm targeting different fish. Typically when I'm throwing that jigging spoon, I'm throwing that into wads of fish or big, large groups of fish out here in creek channels and drains. When I'm flutter spoon fishing, I'm throwing that more around cover. I'm throwing that around brush piles. I'm throwing that around big stumps. And I'm using my live scope to target specific fish with a flutter spoon. And so, a little bit different. I like a little bit stouter rod. This right here is a 745 Dobbins rod. It's a little bit longer, it's a little bit stouter. I'm going from a medium heavy to a heavy action rod, something that I can really winch them out of that cover. This Dobbins still has a pretty decent backbone. It's not a broomstick, so it still keeps them pinned up with this big treble hook. Once again, I'm throwing 7.3 to 1 gear ratio reel, and I'm throwing 16-pound fluorocarbon line. Same thing, they're gonna eat this spoon on the fall. You're not gonna feel the bite if you're using mono or braid. Fluorocarbon line is a must. But when it comes to the spoon itself, there's 3 spoons that I throw, 3 sizes. This is a 5-inch flutter spoon. This is made by Lake Fork Tackle, or this may be a Strike King, I'm not sure. But Strike King, Lake Fork Tackle, their spoons are very similar. I like them a lot. They got a good flutter to them. I will pick up a 6-inch. You can tell the difference. This one's a little bit larger. A 6-inch flutter spoon. And then I will also throw the Nichols 10-inch flutter spoon. You can see the difference in that 5-inch and that 10-inch. That 10-inch is massive, but there are times that they will eat that 10-inch and you can catch some massive bass on it as well. As far as colors for flutter spoons, they've got all sorts of different colors. The main thing that I'm looking for is some sort of chrome. You know, this is like a Tennessee shad chrome. This is a green gizzard shad. This is like a lavender shad chrome. But some sort of chrome color on my jiggins, my flutter spoons, because I want that to flutter right by their face to look like a big gizzard shad that's dying and just fluttering right in front of them. They can't resist it. A lot of times when I'm doing this, I'm using my live scope. I'm not letting it hit the bottom like I am with a jigging spoon. I'll throw it behind the fish I can see. I'll rip it over the top of that fish's head and I'll let it fall back in its face. Most of the bites are gonna come on the fall. I throw this 5-inch spoon the most simply because it gets more bites, and on guide trips, that's what it's all about, is you're getting a lot of bites, and it's a really fun bite to catch them on. I'll step up to that 6-inch spoon later in the winter, or if I'm around gizzards. If I'm around threadfin, I'm throwing this 5-inch, but if there's gizzard shad in the area, I'll pick up that 6-inch. And then whenever I'm gonna throw that big Nichols 10-inch spoon, they make a 8, a 9, and a 10. This is the 10-inch spoon right here. I'll throw this around brush piles with crappie. And so I'm gonna do kind of the same exact tactic as following an individual fish on the stump. I'm gonna throw this on the back side of a brush pile. I'm gonna rip it up over the top of the brush and let it kind of flutter right on the top of it, rip it again, and let it flutter down on the front. You'd be surprised how many large bass are buried in the middle of those brush piles that you can't see, that they will swim out and eat this 10-inch spoon, because this is about the size of the crappie that they're targeting in those piles. And so I throw this large spoon around crappie piles. I'll throw the 5-inch and the 6-inch spoon when I'm targeting fish on stumps, or I'm just targeting an individual fish busting through shad, especially gizzard shad. So that's how I approach my spoon fishing. And man, I throw a spoon all year long. A jigging spoon, something I've got tied on my boat all the time. kind of the flutter spoon to me is more of a specialty bait when I'm targeting individual fish or looking for one big bite. But it's something I've always got tied on, something I'm always prepared to throw. And man, what's so great about it is you can take a kid, you can take a wife, or anyone like that who's not, maybe someone who's not really much of a fisherman or they're learning to fish. And it's a great way to put a pile of fish in the boat quick. It's an easy tactic. You can't hardly mess it up. Just throw it out there, let it hit the bottom, rip it up, let it fall. Rip it up, let it fall. And whenever your line goes slack or you feel a thump, set the hook and you've got a fish. And so here at Bent Rods Guide Service, man, we are on a ton of fish right now on these techniques. So if you want to learn how to do this, or you want to get some experience in how to pattern some of these deep fish and catch them on a jigging spoon and a flutter spoon, give us a call right now here in November and December and January, some of the best spoon fishing weather of the year. And we'd love to get you out here and help you out.